All religions and teachings of wisdom agree.
Earthly life is, above all, a preparation for your existence in the higher world after death. The earthly path is a path of preparation for infinity.
Whether you have already lived in a sanctuary before your birth and wish to return there after death, or whether you want to apply for admission for the first time, in both cases you have to prove on earth that you are worthy of being accepted. The older people get, the more they tend to look back to the past. But it is better to look ahead into the future. Always ask yourself,
how and where do I want to live in 50 years from now, after death, in the higher world?
If your answer is, as a spiritual disciple in an ashram of the Brotherhood, you can and must prepare for this high goal from now on. We repeat, after death, you come to that higher or lower layer of the world beyond which corresponds to your being, to the state of your self-improvement, to the level of your consciousness.
Heaven is a better world because there you can no longer be harassed and tormented by consciousnesses that belong to lower levels than you.
He who leads a pure, holy life on earth enters the highest spheres of the other world, which we call heaven. The one who lives an unworthy life down here and passes over soiled with gross accumulations cannot meet with a master over there, but only with lower consciousnesses. Someone whose God is mammon, power or violence will find himself in the hereafter as well, in those strata where homage is being paid to these idols, to that what he loves, to what he is attached to. He will continue to be chained over there too.
He who at the close of this frail life of thine will sound thy soul with faith's own plummet true, and finding naught but that which is of earth most earthly, then must say to thee, go back to that thou lovest. What does that mean in practical terms? You yourself, by your thinking, feeling, speaking and acting, determine today which sphere of the spiritual world you will go to after your death. As the Devachanic existence is the reproduction and idealizing of all that has appealed to us and that we have thought or done in earth life, it is very evident that every thought and act making for a home center on earth is an addition to the Devachanic home center. It is by the power of free will that people create their existence in the subtle world.
You can and must actually furnish your future abode now, during your stay on earth, stone by stone, not unlike a physical house.
Help them to build a home on that other side, that you, too, may have a right to that home when your turn shall come to pass over. Every unselfish thought and deed will set a stone in a wall, add a pillar, put on a roof, or lay a plank to help in the building. Every lifting of the heart to God will throw open a window to the rays of the sun. While still on earth, people should carry themselves to where precisely they would like to continue their progress. They must concentrate their free will so that their thought works as a messenger, making provisions for their future place in the subtle world. Let your thought fly ahead of you and prepare your next beautiful dwelling. How should I proceed to build my eternal home?
In 2 steps. First step. First of all, you must form an exact idea of the sphere to which you want to go to.
Heaven is the goal of your earthly journey.
If you do not know where this goal lies and what it looks like, you cannot set out on the path in any meaningful way.
People complain that the picture of the fiery world is not clear to them. Let us not insist as to who is at fault in this. Let us propose to them that they picture the fiery world in their own imagination. Though such visualization be a poor and hazy one, let it begin at least in some way. It thus can be utilized as a beginning, but it is bad when there is nothing upon which to build.
So, constantly refine the picture of your heaven, of your teacher's ashram. Second step, you let your imagination become reality. A reality of the subtle world, of course, as we are talking about your otherworldly abode.
How do I achieve that? Heaven is the plane on which your ideals become reality. Every man makes his own Devachan, the results of his kindest acts, his highest and purest ideals and desires, form the basis of his realizations in the Devachanic interludes.
The conditions there are created by your thoughts. What you are dreaming of on earth becomes a living reality in heaven. For over there, no resistance of matter and no ignorant or hostile people exist that could prevent the realization of your plans.
So you create a subtle reality, the hologram of an ashram around you.
In this way, you erect a thought building which really exists in the world beyond. Keep this construction alive with the help of your spiritual power, your psychic energy, so that you can move in there at death.
Thus, you are living today virtually and after the transition really in this place. They cannot even dream of the future life. Their imagination does not allow them to wish for a worthy life beyond the limits of Earth. But such dreams, intensely perceived, can be transformed into reality in the supermundane world. There, thought creates, and already in the earthly life, thought should build the castle of future heroic deeds.
What an improvement of the old worldview! What a chance!
Ideally, you enter after death a sphere in the hereafter that is already familiar to you, because you have created it yourself. Greatly blessed is the one who enters a subtle world already known to him.
Then, when you die, you do not leave the world at all, in which you have been living for a long time already. Before and after death, your soul dwells in one and the same sphere, in the ashram of its teacher.
With such a practice, death is no longer a transition at all. It is within human capability to greatly facilitate entry into the subtle world. Indeed, great is the joy when one can enter these new conditions as if into a welcoming home, to find there all those for whom one has yearned, and to sigh with relief that one more earthly journey has been fulfilled. But such a state of mind can only be the result of conscious imagination. Therefore, please understand why we direct you to everything that develops the imagination. We know how gradually this precious quality must be attained. We could not help mankind without imagination, which furthers foresight.
From what we just said follows:
after death, in the hereafter, you will come to the same sphere in which you are living today on earth.
If you lead an impure and unholy life today, heaven will not be accessible to you. The high vibrations there are unbearable for a low-tuned being.
How can an evil-minded murderer, a seducer, or an idiot experience a condition of well-being in the higher spheres, which would be unbearable for him, owing to their subtle vibrations, and more than unbearable, for the very approach of a being from the higher spheres causes incredible pains to such as he. Furthermore, from contact with the higher energies, he decomposes.
It is therefore of no use to crave for heaven, as long as you still carry within you coarse animal desires for things which are not available in such a high sphere, for example for alcohol, meat or tobacco. Even if you were able to somehow manage to sneak in, you would suffer like an alcoholic in withdrawal, because there you cannot get what you are yearning for, on what you depend for your well-being.
So, what must I do to go to heaven? What is required is a thorough purification of your being, of your habits. The preparation for contacting the higher strata first of all entails purification of one's consciousness and development of the life of the heart.
He who really comes from a heaven will not live on earth as in a pigsty, and the one who lives here as in a pigsty, with all the filth clinging to his aura, will not be admitted by any great teacher to his abode over there.
Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart. Consciousnesses which are ruled by low impulses can be impelled only to the lower levels. Don't you fear that your permanent exhortations to abstain from carnal pleasures, like alcohol, chocolate, good food, and other pleasant things, will rather frighten people off?
Well, you have to understand, we are not talking about a guilty conscience, but about goal fitness and even necessity.
After death, in the world beyond, all these physical pleasures simply do not exist.
So, very soon, with certainty, you will have to make do without them. Therefore, it is only wise to learn to renounce them. If you get used to such delights in this world, and if they are the highest pleasure of your life, you will be deprived of joy in the hereafter, because there you will no longer be able to fall back on these means. To change your habits is not possible there. If you use on earth chocolate, alcohol or other things to get you out of a bad mood, you will not find a way out in heaven, because these material comforters are not available there.
Better get used to spiritual pleasures now, which you can enjoy in the higher world as well.
I am not trying to exercise pressure or compulsion. On the contrary,
create for yourself such a beautiful supermundane reality that your desire for material pleasures vanishes. Is that practically feasible at all?
it is not that difficult. Put yourself in the fiery condition and create a sacred atmosphere of high vibration around you. Then no desire will arise, or at least be quickly overcome.
The plants reach out toward the light, Only people dream about their stomachs, when their spirits should be filled with the grandeur of the highest.